Okay, so 12 bar structure. What is a 12 bar blues? I've had a few people asking me this. I'm going to clear it up for you now. There's going to be an image of a 12 bar blues on the screen for you to look at whilst I'm going through this as well. So, the 12 bar blues is the most common form of blues format of chord structures in the blues. The vast majority of blues stuff that you'll hear will be a 12 bar blues, give or take a few simple changes, but on the whole they're going to be 12 bar blues if you're listening to blues. That means that we can get used to this structure, we can memorize this structure, and we can then be aware of the kind of things that are going to happen when we're playing over a blues structure. So, what are we talking about when we're talking about the structure of a song? Well, we're talking about what chords are being played. So whether it's the guitar or the harmonica, the guitar or the piano, and also what notes the bass is playing. Those are going to determine the kind of things we want to do on the harmonica. So we can think about those and think about how we want to react to those in our playing. So the 12 bar blues structure is really quite useful to know, because then we can use our knowledge of the instrument to respond accordingly to those chords. So, you might have heard the terms the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord used when talking about the structure of a 12 bar blues. So, if you've studied any scales, you'll know that you can call each note as you move up a scale from the first note to the second note to the third note. You can call those the first, the second, the third, or the 1, the 2 and the 3. They're the degrees of the scale. So if you hear people talking about the 1, the 4, the 5, that just means that the chord starts on the first note of the scale, the 1, or the chord starts on the 4th note of the scale, the 4, or the chord starts on the 5th note of the scale, the 5. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about 1, 4 and 5. So those scales are in relation to the chords that we're going to play. So let's say our blues is in the key of C, then the 1 chord is going to be a C chord. The 4 chord is going to be, if you move up the scale, C, D, E, F. The 4th note is, the 4 chord will be an F, and then the 5th note will be a G. C, D, E, F, G. I don't know my letters. So we'll have C, F, and G will be our 3 chords. So those would be our 3 chords. Well, what format would they be in? Well, I'm going to put a map on the screen so you can look at it. But the basic format is going to be the first 4 bars, and remember we're doing a 12 bar blues, so there's going to be 12 bars. So the first 4 bars are all the 1 chord. So in our case, a 12 bar blues in G, that'll be G. Or 12 bar blues in C, it will be C. In the next 2 bars, we're going to have a 4 chord. Then it's going to return to the 1 chord for 2 bars. And then we're going to go 5 chord for 1 bar, 4 chord for 1 bar, and then the 1 chord for 2 more bars. And that takes us to the end of a 12 bar structure. That final bar very often has a sneaky little 5 chord for the last 2 beats or so, or sometimes the last bar. So it's very common to see a 5 chord in there. Now you'll notice that in the map that I've put up, the numbers are actually denoted by Roman numerals. So you'll see that capital I is the 1, the IV would be the 4, and the V would be the 5. So they're the common way of denoting those different degrees of scales when writing these out musically. That's the way we tend to do it. So it's useful to be aware of that. So that would be the basic structure of a 12 bar blues. Now, if you want to know how to play over those, it's useful to get used to learning scales, to get used to what actually makes up those chords. So if it's a C chord, or in our case 7th chords, you'll notice on the map that it's very common to have 7s next to the Roman numerals. If you want to know a bit more about what those chords are, it's useful to study some of my other lessons, have a look for other people's lessons on playing over a 12-bar structure and how to use it to your advantage. Okay, I hope that answers your question, and good luck, and I'll see you soon.